Hi, and thank you for joining the Passport to Success 2013 information session. We will be starting our webinar in just a few minutes. Good morning, and welcome to the Passport to Success information session. Thank you for joining us. We're excited to have you participate in this webinar, and we're trusting that the information you receive will be value added as you as you implement the campaign on your particular campus. By way of introduction, my name is Ron Roberts, Jr. I'm a program specialist here with families and schools, and I'm leading this year's Passport to Success campaign. I'm also being joined by Julia Lopez, an associate of mine here at Families and Schools, who's providing technology support and also who has been very instrumental in us putting the campaign together. Over the next 30 to 45 minutes, I will share key information and resources to help you better understand Passport to Success and to implement the campaign on your campus. You should have received PowerPoint slides, so please reference those slides as we go through the webinar. Now, if you're having problems accessing the webinar via your computer, you are able to use a phone option, and you can follow along with the PowerPoint slides. You simply need to dial in the following number: 415 area code 363-0075. Once again, area code 415-363-0075. You will also need to enter an access code, which is 511-685-264. Once again, 511-685-264, and that's the access code. And simply follow the instructions that are given to you in the recording. All right, so I wanted to share some information that will help you to best manage the webinar tools. And so if you look at the slide in front of you, you'll notice that there's information about a grab tab. So you simply need to click an arrow, the arrow that's shown to open or close the control panel. There's also an icon in the shape of a square. You can click that to toggle back and forth between viewer window, between the full screen or window mode. Next, there's an audio pane. The audio pane will allow you to select the audio mode. So you can select one of two options. First, you can use a telephone, or you can use the mic and speakers with your computer. Now, by default, all attendees are muted, so to ensure the best quality sound, please press the mute buttons on your telephone if participating by phone. You will also want to maximize the volume on your computer or phone to ensure the best quality sound. And last, there's a reference to questions pane, and so we will provide you an opportunity to ask questions. I will not address questions during the webinar, but after the webinar, I will take some time to address the questions that you're asking. And so you can submit the questions during the webinar, however. So let's go to the next slide, and this will give you some information on how to pose a question. So questions must be submitted online, and to submit a question to the presenter, type the question in the question pane on your control panel. After you type the question in, click Send to submit the question, and I will see it. And as I mentioned before, I will address the questions after the webinar. And so, but certainly feel free to, as questions come to your mind, just type them in. We'll take a look at them, and we will try to address as many questions as we can throughout the webinar. All right, next slide. I wanted just to let you know that we will welcome questions after the webinar. So after the webinar is over, and if other questions come to your mind, certainly feel free to reach out to me. My email address is listed there, or you can call Families and Schools at 888-766-2242. Once again, 888-766-2242. And this information will be shown again at the end of the webinar, so you can take it down at that point if you need to. All right, so let's go ahead and get into our webinar. So there are a few objectives that we're hoping to accomplish throughout the webinar. So number one, we want to give you an overview of the campaign, Passport to Success. Secondly, we're going to talk about your role as a school partner and how you can help us to make this campaign successful. Third, we're going to talk about parent engagement. And in order for this campaign to be successful, we really need parents involved. And so we'll talk more about that. Next, we'll cover some key dates for this year's campaign. And then last, as I mentioned earlier, we will take some questions. All right, so why this campaign? Why is Passport to Success necessary? Why is it important? Well, according to research, 65% of LAUSD economically disadvantaged third graders from communities of color are reading below grade level. It is also estimated that summer break will cause the average student to lose up to 1 month of instruction, with disadvantaged students being disproportionately affected. And so this is not acceptable to families and schools. And so, we're concerned about this, what is called summer learning loss or summer slide. And so we thought that Passport to Success would be a great way for us to address this issue. So we simply, through Passport to Success, want to increase summer learning by giving students and their families access to free and low-cost learning activities during the summer. So there are lots of great places for families to go to in the Los Angeles County area. And so we want to be sure that we're helping to create as much access for these families as possible. All right, so a little bit more about Passport to Success. So this is the annual initiative of families and schools. And let me just talk about families and schools for a moment. Families and schools has been around for a little bit over 12 years. And our mission is to involve parents and community in their children's education to achieve lifelong student success. So as I mentioned before, it's important for us to have parents involved. And so families and schools is really focused on parent engagement and just being sure that parents have an opportunity to contribute to the success of their students' their children's educational success. And so Passport to Success is going into its second year, and so we're excited about that. Last year, we thought we had pretty good success for doing this for the first year. And so we're looking to build on the success of last year. And so Passport to Success simply encourages families of LAUSD preschool and elementary students to visit museums, libraries, and other cultural locations. The campaign dates are from June 8th through August 31st, so roughly 2.5 months. Now, families will receive passports that can be stamped at 37 locations plus 73 libraries. So that's a lot of places that families will have an opportunity to visit to get their passport stamped. And we will talk a little bit more about the locations in a few slides. So in addition to visiting these locations, students will receive prizes for turning in their stamped passports at school in September. So we're looking for students to go to these locations, get their passport stamped, and then they will turn their passports into schools in September. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So last year, we reached 20,000 students and their families. And so we're looking to double that and looking to reach out to 40,000 LAUSD students and their families and over 60 schools. So we're very excited about this, and certainly you as schools partnering with us, we are expecting to accomplish this goal and to have another great year. All right, so let's talk a little bit about some other folks who really helped to make this campaign successful, and that's our sponsors and community advisors. And these folks are partners with us in really moving Passport to Success forward and addressing the issue of summer learning loss. And so Target and Infinity Insurance have been kind enough to contribute to us financially so that we're able to really get the great materials that we need to distribute to families, and also to be able to produce some of the other activities that are going to be instrumental in really creating a great experience for students and their families. Next, we have our community advisors, and though this is a group of organizations that have agreed to come on board to provide families and schools some additional guidance so that we can continue to strengthen Passport to Success and build on the accomplishments that we had last year. So we're very thankful to our partners. All right, so let's get into the Summer Learning Kit. And this is one of the most exciting parts about, for me at least, for Passport to Success, and that's the great information, the great materials that we're able to give out to students and their families. And so we're calling it the Summer Learning Kit. So there are three pieces to the Summer Learning Kit that I want to make you aware of. The first is the Family Resource Guide, and you can see an image of it to the left of your screen. And so obviously you see the cover, and you see one side of the Family Resource Guide, which is like a map, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. The second piece is the passport itself, and this is the booklet that families will be able to have stamped at the various locations. And then last is a new piece to the Summer Learning Kit, and that's the MTA Rider Relief Transportation Program for sure. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that is such an important piece of this kit. All right, so the Family Resource Guide, the first piece of the Summer Learning Kit. And so as I mentioned earlier, we have 37 great locations plus libraries that families will be able to go to. And I want to emphasize these are free and low-cost learning locations. And they're also places where children can have fun. And so we want to make summer learning fun. We know, obviously, it's going to be educational, but we want to give the kids even more incentive to be able to go to these locations so they can have fun there. And so the Family Resource Guide lists the different locations. And so as you can see there's a map that shows the different locations by geography. But also on the flip side, we list out the locations and provide information, which I will talk about in the next slide. But you can see here the 37 locations listed, everything from the Autry National Center to the Flight Path Learning Center Museum to the Los Angeles Maritime Museum, to Santa Monica Pier Aquarium, the Music Center, Watts Towers Arts Center. So lots of great places. And we try to be diverse in the locations that we picked. So diverse in terms of geography, diverse in terms of the type of experience that families could encounter at these locations. And so we're continuing to look to obviously build out, and next year we're hoping to have even more locations. So let's take a look at a snapshot of this Family Resource Guide. And so to your left, you'll see just an example of listings of locations by geography. So in this example, we see a few listings in the West Side, South Bay area. But I also wanted to draw your attention to some detailed information we provide about the different locations. And so if you look at the Flight Path Learning Center, and you can see that's listed as number 2, and it's listed in the sun. And so you'll see that there's a short description of the Flight Path Learning Center in both English and in Spanish. We also list the location's address and phone number, and also website. And of course, we want to list the hours of operation so that families know when they can go and visit Flight Path. And so Flight Path is open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And also, very importantly, we list admission and parking. And as I mentioned earlier, we want to be sure that families have access to free and low-cost learning activities. And so Flight Path, as you can see, is free to get into, and also parking is free, which is a nice benefit. The last piece that I want to mention is the passport stamp check-in location. And so we obviously want for families to be able to have their passport stamped, and so we ask each of our partner locations just to let us know where the best place is for families to go to get their passport stamped. So here at Flight Path, they will have a reception sign-in table, and so families can go there, show their passports, and get their passports stamped by Flight Path. So our listing location information, stamp check-in locations, and once again, free and low-cost admission. And one other thing I want to mention, too, is that at some of our locations, if a family shows their passport, they will receive an additional discount off the admission price, too. And so, so that's another good perk about having a passport. All right, so let's move on. And so we talked about the Family Resource Guide, so I want to spend a few minutes talking about the passport itself. And so this is page 2 of the passport. And so we, at the beginning, talk about summer learning and what it's about, and really our emphasis on making summer learning fun. So once again, we really want the children, the family to understand that, yes, going to these different locations is going to be educational. It will increase your summer learning, but it's also going to be a fun experience. And so we wanted to make this an easy process for families, and so we have a 3-step process. So in the section under How Can Your Family Participate, step number 1, simply register your passport to Success Family Kit today online at the Families and Schools website or by calling that 888 number. So they can go to www.familiesandschools.org/passport to success, or they can call 888-766-2242. So why should a family register their passport? What's the big deal about that? Well, number 1, once a family registers their passport, they'll be eligible to win prizes. And so throughout the campaign, we will look at those families that register their passports, and we will be conducting raffles and giving away some great prizes. And so a family won't be able to win a prize if they don't register their passport. So that's one great incentive. Also, when a family registers their passport, parents will receive weekly tips through email or text on how to support their child's learning this summer. So we want to continue to be able to get information out to parents just to be able to support them in really creating a stronger literacy environment at home. The third benefit for families registering their passports is that they get free books. And so we're excited to announce that. So one of our partners, Infinity Insurance, through their Read Conmigo program, have generously agreed to provide free books to families that register their Passport to Success kit. And so families that do that will have access to 17 books online. And there's a new book online every other month. And so the online book list will be kept fresh. Also, families, in addition to having access to books online, families will receive 3 books in the mail over the course of the year. So a book in June, a book in August, and a book in December. And so families are getting a lot of perks simply by registering their family kit. So that's step 1. Step 2, from June 8th through August 31st, the campaign date, we're going to obviously encourage the families to go to these great locations and to get their passport stamped. And so that's step 2. Step 3, we're asking the families to submit their passports to their respective children's schools. So once the passports have been submitted, families will be eligible for more prizes, such as amusement park passes, computer learning tools, books, and educational games. And so we're just in the business of giving prizes away here too. But it's just a great opportunity, once again, for our families to learn through the program, but also to receive some cool prizes simply by registering their passports and by returning those passports to schools in September. All right, so I wanted to just talk a little bit more about the passport and just show you some of the cool features in the passport. So on this page here, you'll see that there are 4 places where families can have their passport stamped. So 4 locations. And so they will have an opportunity to list the name of the location, the date that they visited the location, and also they can actually rate their experience at the location. So we have 5 stars here. And so if a family goes to the Getty Center and they have just a marvelous time there, they can rate their experience 5 out of 5 stars. So if they go to Flight Path and they can rate 4 out of 5 stars too. So we're hoping that families have great experiences at each of the locations, and so they have the option if they want to just to rate the experience and just to remind themselves of the type of experience they had at each location. So a place for them to have this passport stamp, a place for them to list location, date, and also if they want to, they can actually rate their experience. And we will have several pages throughout the passport where families can actually have their passport stamped. So some other elements that we wanted to showcase is number 1, a calendar. And so if you look to the top left of your screen, you'll see My Summer Learning Adventure. And so we thought it would be great for families to have a way to map out their visits to the different locations. And so, for instance, from June 8th to June 14th, a family can map out their location to the Watts Towers Art Center. Or from July 27th to August 2nd, they can map out their visit to the Cabrillo Marine Aquarium. Or they may decide they want to go to Skirball Cultural Center that week as well. So this allows them to map things out. Also, to the top right, you'll see 10 tips for reading aloud to your child. So we want to encourage families to continue to read together through the summer. To your bottom left, you have a snapshot of a page where children can write their favorite things about the location. So if they go to the California African American Museum, for instance, and they find some things that they really like about the museum, they can jot that down on this page. And then also to the bottom right, another page where children can actually list the books they're reading during the summer. So we want the children to continue their reading throughout the summer, and so they can actually write out the books that they read, the name of the author, and also they can rate the book that they read too. So there's more than just a page for families to have their passport stamped. There's some other cool features here in the passport. All right, so the other page that I wanted to reference in the passport is a Tearoff. Now, I mentioned earlier that we're asking for students and their families to submit their passports to school in September. But we found last year that families got very attached to their passports because the children were writing in their passports about their experiences. They were drawing and possibly sticking photos in there too. And so they didn't want to give up their passports. And so we understood that because it was a keepsake to them too. So we thought about one way where we could get the information that we need at schools and also as families in schools, but also be sure that the families, students and families are able to keep their passports. So we have this tear-off here. And so the families just simply need to put their information in, student's name, address, school, teacher, and so forth. And also indicate the locations that they visited. They can also write next to the location the number of times they visited. So they may go to, a family may go to the Japanese American National Museum. They think it's such a great place that they want to go 2 or 3 more times too. So they can list that there in a box next. And so, so afterwards, the families can simply tear off this page and send it to the schools and keep the rest of their passport. And so as I mentioned earlier, once a student or family submit this information to you, they'll be eligible to win more prizes. All right, so we talked about the Family Resource Guide and also the passport, which are 2 of the 3 pieces in the Summer Learning Kit. So the third piece, which is a new piece, as I mentioned earlier, is a brochure that we received by the MTA, Metropolitan Transportation Authority. And so this piece is important because we want to be sure that families are able to get to these great locations as easy as possible. So last year, there were some challenges for some families to get to some locations because they just didn't have the means necessary to get to as many locations as they wanted to. So we reached out to the MTA to find out how we could partner with them to get easier transportation. And so they had this great program that they told us about called a Rider Relief Transportation Program. So it's a low-cost transportation option for families. And so it provides fare subsidy coupons to eligible riders who purchase daily, weekly, or monthly Metro and Easy Transit passes from participating Metro and Transit Agency pass sales outlets. And so all families need to do is to apply, and once they apply, if they're eligible, they will be able to get these subsidy coupons. And so in the Summer Learning Kit, not only will we include the Family Resource Guide, the passport, but we also will include the brochure you see on the screen here on a Rider Relief Transportation Program. And so we're hoping that that will alleviate a lot of the challenges that families had last year in getting to the various locations. All right, so that's the Summer Learning Kit. So let me take a few minutes and talk about your role as a school partner. And once again, we really do appreciate you coming on board because without your participation, we could not make this happen. And we really need your partnership just to be able to get this information out to families. And so there are 4 things that we're asking for our school partners to do just to help to make this campaign successful. Number 1, to participate in the 45-minute webinar on how to implement Passport to Success at your school. So you're doing that now, so you can check that off your list. Number 2, we're going to also ask you to provide families a workshop on summer learning and Passport to Success. So we really want families to understand the challenge of summer learning and the opportunity through Passport to Success. And so we're going to ask you to host a workshop for your parents just so they better understand the campaign and how to really maximize it. The third thing we're going to ask you to do is to distribute the summer learning kits to students and their families. And so we have 40,000 summer learning kits that we will be putting together and getting out to schools. And so we will be sending them to your school starting next week, and I'm going to talk more about that. But we're going to ask you simply to distribute these kits to your students and their families. And the fourth thing we're going to ask you to do is to, in September, collect the passports from your students. So the passports themselves or the Tearoffs, whatever the families give you, and to collect those that information and to distribute prizes to your student winners. So those are the 4 things, and you should have received this information when you registered your school for Passport to Success. So hopefully this is not a shock to you. All right, so we will discuss a little bit more about this in the next few slides. All right, so let's talk a little bit about parent engagement. And so as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be important for parents to really be involved so that they get the maximum benefits from Passport to Success. And so we are asking you, as I mentioned before, to host a workshop for your parents. And so families and schools will provide you the tools to be able to host this workshop. So we will provide you a lesson plan, a PowerPoint slide, and handouts that you can share with your family. So we want to make sure you have as much information as necessary so that you're comfortable in providing the information to your families. So another idea would be teacher-parent conferences. So we know at this point that you're in a process of scheduling teacher-parent conferences, and so that's another venue for you to share Passport to Success with your parents. Some of you may want to have all-school assemblies. Some of you may have some scheduled, or you may decide that, hey, let's schedule an assembly so that we can really talk about summer learning and its importance, and also take that opportunity to share a little bit about Passport to Success. And so you can use that, once again, as another venue to talk about the campaign and how families can take advantage of it. I also want to mention, too, that we have some great videos online that you can share with your families. And we know that for some folks, the power of video or photo is very, very impactful. And so we wanted to give you some additional tools that you can share. And so we have a public service announcement that one of our board members put together last year in both English and Spanish that talks a little bit about the campaign. We have a couple other videos that really give you insight into a family's experience visiting a location. So we have one where one of our families visited Kid Space, one of our locations, and so you have a chance to really see the family's experience there. Also another video of a family visiting the Getty, too. So those are some additional tools in addition to the other materials that we will provide you to share. So we hope that you will find those to be very beneficial. All right, so some key campaign dates. So as I mentioned a few moments ago, we will start distributing the summer learning kits to schools starting next week. And so we have slotted May 22nd through the 31st to have all of the materials distributed to all of our schools that are registered for Passport to Success. Now, some of you may be very anxious to get these kits. You may have gone through and looked at the resource guide and the Passport, and you may be extremely excited, as excited as we are. You may decide, wow, I want my summer learning kit as soon as possible. So we are giving you the option to actually come to families and schools and to pick up your kit too. So you will simply need to email me, and I will show you my email address at the end of the webinar, or call us, and I will show the phone number that you can call us at, and just say, hey, I really like to come by and pick up our kits. And so we'll have some boxes ready for you too. And so so feel free certainly to use that option. Otherwise, we will be sure to distribute the materials to your respective schools between May 22nd and May 31st. We also have a kickoff celebration scheduled for May 30th. And that's at Dolores Huerta Elementary School. And so we are very thankful that that school has agreed to host the kickoff for us. And so this is going to be an opportunity for you as school partners to come out and to meet some of our corporate partners and community partners, and just to really be able to get together and to celebrate, really us tackling the summer learning issue and kicking off our Passport to Success. And so it's going to be in the morning from 9 to 10, and there will be some time for you to come before 9 just to be able to get together, get some breakfast, and to do some networking too. So we're very excited about that, and more information will go out. Hopefully some of you have received an invitation to the kickoff, but all registered schools will receive an invitation with more details. From June 8th to August 31st, the dates of the campaign, students and their families will be able to go to the different locations and get their passports stamped. In September, as I mentioned earlier, we will count on U.S. schools to help us to collect passports or the tear-offs. And then in October, we will start to distribute prizes to the various schools. So those are the key dates. All right, so that's the key information that we wanted to share with you about Passport to Success. And so certainly, if you have some questions about it, about the campaign, about what I shared, feel free to type in your questions now in the question pane, and I will answer as many questions as I can. And once again, as a reminder, if for some reason we are not able to get to your question, you can email me at rroberts@familiesandschools.org, and you should hopefully see it on your screen. Or you can call Families and Schools at 888-766-2242. Once again, 888-766-2242. So feel free to type your questions in. All right, so we have a question. Can we have this PowerPoint to show our teachers? We certainly can provide you a PowerPoint. We will provide you something, if not the same PowerPoint, something very similar with this information. And so, as I mentioned before, we're going to provide you tools to have for you to host a parent workshop. And so we will provide you a PowerPoint, and it'll be very similar to this, and so you can use that also to show to your teachers. So good question. And so if there are other questions, okay, how soon can we get the PowerPoints? Okay, so I see some excitement here. And so you should be able to get the information over to you as soon as next week, early next week. I will see if we can get some information over to you before then, but certainly by next week, early next week, we'll be able to get you the information as well. So certainly feel free to email me, but just know that we are getting the materials together for your parent workshops, and you should get that pretty early next week. All right, so another question is, when did you say we should receive the packets if we're getting them sent to our school? And so we will start distributing the packets to schools starting May 22nd, and so that will be next Wednesday. So we don't know the exact dates that we're going to give them to each school, but between May 22nd and May 31st, you will receive your packets. So you should have them in hand no later than the end of the month. And we're hoping to actually have the packets in before then, but between May 22nd and May 31st. All right, when will the video links be available? And so we will get those video links out to you once again by early next week. Certainly feel free to email me requests, but we will get those video links out to everyone. Actually, if you email, we will hopefully get them out today too. So we're going to try to get it out as soon as we possibly can. Okay, when can we access this recorded webinar? And so we will actually make the webinar available to you today. So give us a couple hours or so just to be sure we have everything up, but you will be able to access it as soon as this afternoon. Okay, aside from the Tearoff, another question. Aside from the Tearoff, can we still submit the place to visit it online like we did last year? Very good question. Yes, we will provide you the option to submit the Tearoff information online. So the same information that I showed you in the Tearoff, you will be able to submit it online. So we will provide you more details on how to do that. But yes, we will be able to provide you that. All right, so let's see if there are some other questions coming in. Do we need to send you a count of how many kits we need? Okay, another good question. So when you registered your school for the campaign, you should have indicated the enrollment of your school. And so we will be leveraging that information to send you kits. So for instance, when you registered, if you put the enrollment at 350 students for your school, we will send you that amount of family kits, summer learning kits. And so we already have a number built in, and we will send those that information out. Okay, another question. Will families get credit for visiting places that are not on the passport? Unfortunately, we will not be able to give them the same credit. We are focusing on places that are stamping passports. So the 37 locations that are listed in this presentation, and also 73 libraries that are affiliated with LA Public Library, those places will be stamping passports, and so we will be giving families credit for visiting those locations. Here's a question that I love. Are you still needing volunteers to put the kits together? Yes, absolutely. So we did send out some information soliciting volunteers. And so feel free to email me if you're interested, and I will be sure that you get the link to sign up for volunteers. But yes, please, if you have volunteers that would love to come by and help us out, we would love it. So today is the first day that we're taking volunteers, and so we will have volunteers today and all of next week from 9 to 7. from 9 a.m. in the morning to 7. And we also are looking for volunteers to help us out tomorrow on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. too. So please send volunteers our way. Okay, let's see. Let's look at some other questions here. Let's see. And I'll make sure I'm answering as many questions as I can. Okay, so here's a question here. We were part of this campaign last year, but I'm not sure if we are already registered this year. Can I just go ahead and check that on your website? And so feel free to actually email me, and I will let you know if your school is registered. Now, by virtue of you being on this webinar, I'm pretty sure that your school is registered. But if you just want to be sure, simply email me, and I will double check and let you know. Okay, so folks continue to keep sending your questions in, and we're going to take, we have just a few more minutes, and so we'll take some, maybe 2 or 3 more questions. And once again, if I don't get to your question, feel free to email it to me, and I will address it. Okay. So here's another question. How many times can a family use a visit to the library in their passports? So really, as many times as you want to. If your family absolutely loves your local library or going to multiple libraries, you can put that on as many times as possible. So we really want to encourage families to visit these locations. We really want to encourage them to visit as many as they possibly can, but certainly if they've had great experiences at 1 or 2 or 3 locations, certainly they can continue to visit those locations multiple times. Hey, great questions, folks. Thank you for asking them. All right, I see another question too. And folks, I want to say too that we had a strong interest in registering for Passport to Success, and so at Families and Schools, we're very elated to hear that. And so, so certainly we thank you for registering and for partnering with us too. And we know that there are some other schools that are interested, and unfortunately we're not able to admit them, but certainly we have a waiting list. And so we will certainly try to accommodate those schools if we can. All right, the parent workshops. Okay, so there's a question about the parent workshops, about how you'll get that information. So the parent workshops email to us, and so we will email that material to you. So it will be handouts, there will be a lesson plan, and there will be a presentation. So we will email that to our schools. And so each school has listed a lead contact, and so we will email that information to the contact and likely to the principal as well. And so you will get that information through email. Okay. And one thing too, I also just want to repeat too, certainly, as I mentioned, we will be distributing the kits to schools starting next Wednesday. But once again, if your school wants to pick up your kits earlier, feel free to email us or call us, and we will certainly make sure the kits are available to do that. And I'm going to ask, if you want to pick up your kit, give us until at least next Tuesday, because we want to be sure we have all the materials together for you. But yeah, by all means, email us or call us, and we will make arrangements for you to come by and to pick up your kits. Okay, so let's see if we can take another 1 or 2 more questions before we close our webinar. And these are great questions, so thank you again for asking them. All right. So I'm going to look to take a... All righty, so let's see if we can take 1 or 2 more questions. And I'm just scrolling through, folks. I got a lot of questions here, so I just want to scroll through just to be sure that I'm answering the ones that I think will impact the most folks here. Okay. All right, folks. I think we're in good shape. Oh, here's another question. So, will everyone who participates, well, every student who participates in Path to Success receive a prize? Yes, everyone will receive some sort of prize, and certainly there'll be some prizes where you'll simply be eligible for it because we will be doing a raffle. So, yes, so the students that okay, so students that participate, I'm sorry, let me clarify that. The students that participate, everyone that participates will be eligible to win prizes. And I need to be clear about that. I think I spoke a little bit too soon. So you will be eligible to receive prizes. So we will be conducting raffles too. So let me just state that everyone that participates will be eligible to receive prizes. But we have a lot of great prizes, and so we're excited about being able to raffle them off and get them out to the student winners. All right. Let's see if there's maybe one other question that we can take before we close out. Let's see here. Okay, and as a final, once again, as another reminder too, because we have a lot of kids, we still just want to remind you too that there's still the option to come by and to pick up your kits. So as I mentioned earlier, if you don't want to wait for us to distribute your kits, you can simply email me, or you can call us, and we will certainly be sure that we make arrangements for you to come by and to pick up your summer learning kits too. And I know we already have gotten some requests, and so we're welcoming additional requests as well. So, okay, well, folks, I think we're going to wrap up our webinar. So once again, thank you for joining it. We, once again, really appreciate the partnership of our schools that have been in the campaign. And, you know, we're hoping through our partnership with you to have a fantastic campaign. And certainly, once again, if you have questions that were not addressed in the webinar, you can always email me at the email address online, rroberts@familiesandschools.org, or you can call our organization at 888-766-2242. Once again, 888-766-2242. So thank you again, and have a great day.